Let's be real. When you're trying to get a handle on a field that moves as fast as AI, the big challenge isn't just keeping up with the latest tool or paper. It's about building a deep, almost instinctual understanding of how it all works. How do you stop just knowing the terms and actually start thinking like a top-tier AI engineer? So, yeah, that's the big question, right? How do the pros learn something so complex, so deeply that it just becomes second nature, that it feels like intuition? This is what really separates the people who play with AI from the people who build the future with it. And the answer, you might be surprised to hear, isn't about pulling more all-nighters or grinding through flashcards. It's not about brute force. It's about having a strategy, a really smart blueprint for learning that builds knowledge layer by intentional layer. Okay, so let's get right into it. What we're going to do here is deconstruct a real-world learning plan that came from a senior AI engineer. This person literally laid out the exact structure for a masterclass on math for AI intuition. This is their personal playbook for building deep, practical, expert-level knowledge. The whole thing kicks off with this very specific directive. I mean, think about that. The goal isn't just a simple explanation. It's a comprehensive research briefing designed for an expert by an expert. The bar is set incredibly high from the very first sentence. That's our foundation. And here it is, the heart of the blueprint. This whole learning process is broken down into 5 pillars. And just look at the flow here. It's brilliant. You start with the core concepts, the fundamentals. Then you immediately move to how it's done professionally. Then you study the mistakes, the pitfalls. You layer on the subtle expert insights. And finally, you prove you know your stuff with a demo. This isn't just a checklist. It's a journey from theory to being production ready. Let's break it down. All right, let's start with that foundational layer. The first 2 pillars are all about building this super strong bridge between the deep why and the practical how. This is where we go from first principles all the way up to code you'd actually ship. So pillar 1, core technical concepts. But what I love is the engineer's specific instruction right here. Avoid marketing fluff. That is everything. It's a demand for the real, raw mechanics. It means you don't just know that RAG, retrieval augmented generation, stops hallucinations. You need to understand the linear algebra behind the vector search that actually makes it work. That's the deep why. But this is where the blueprint gets really powerful. It doesn't just leave that theory hanging in the air. Pillar 2 immediately connects those mathematical ideas to what's called the 2026 production reality. So you get the vector math, great, but you also have to know the industry standard frameworks like LangGraph where you'd implement it, and the observability tools like Langsmith you'd use to see what's going on inside. This is how abstract concepts turn into a real career. Okay, so you've got the theory down, and you know how to implement it with modern tools. So what's next? Well, this is where the blueprint gets into the stuff that truly separates the junior developers from the senior architects. It's time to learn from failure. Pillar 3 is all about explicitly studying common pitfalls and anti-patterns. Just stop and think about how game-changing that is. Instead of waiting to make your own mistakes, which you will, you are proactively studying the traps that trip up 90% of people. And this is exactly why it's so critical. For instance, a classic pitfall in a RAG system is just chopping up your documents into random chunks. It's a junior mistake that leads to terrible, irrelevant results. Knowing that anti-pattern up front means you can design a smarter data ingestion process from day one and build something that's actually reliable. You see, this is the street smarts of engineering. This is the stuff you don't find in a Hello World tutorial. And this flows right into Pillar 4, expert insights. This isn't just about what to avoid, but also the pro tips, like adding a re-ranking step after you retrieve documents to make sure only the absolute best context gets to the LLM. That's the kind of subtle, powerful move that defines a real pro. So we've gone through theory, practice, and even studied failure. The blueprint now brings us to the final stage, the capstone. This is where you have to prove you've actually absorbed all of it. This is the demonstration of true mastery. The 5th and final pillar of this whole framework is a clear demand. Build a high-impact, hands-on code project. Notice the language. This isn't a quiz. It's a call to create something real, something that actually works and showcases your skills. And the goal isn't just to make something that runs without crashing. The project has to be designed specifically to prove expert-level competence. We're talking about the difference between, say, building a simple chatbot following a tutorial versus architecting a production-ready RAG agent that has custom data pipelines, that re-ranking layer we talked about, and full observability. worlds apart. And that's really the whole point. This Capstone project ties all the pillars together. Because that intuition we talked about at the start, it's not just about knowing a bunch of facts. It's about being able to take all that knowledge and actually create something new and effective with it. So let's just zoom out for a second and look at what we've unpacked here. We've literally deconstructed an expert's game plan for deep learning. Now the real question is, okay, what do you do with this? And here's the biggest takeaway for you. Yeah, we started by looking at a plan for learning AI math, but this 5-pillar framework, it's universal. You can literally lift this and apply it to master any complex field you want to get into, from the core concepts to professional tools to studying mistakes to proving you can build something with it. So as we wrap this up, the final thought I want to leave you with isn't about someone else's plan. It's a question for you. Now that you've seen the framework, what does the blueprint for your expertise look like?